Welcome to November. This year is definitely winding down, but we are doing what we do and bringing you interesting reports from the global development space. Let's get into this week's recommendations. First is a UN Women Working Paper on young women's participation in politics and decision-making in African Union member states. The report recognizes that despite the international community's recognition of women's rights to equal participation, the goal of equality is still eluding. The document highlights that the major obstacles for achieving equality is the de facto discrimination against women that prevails in our societies. The paper points out that amongst the discriminatory attitudes are patriarchal and conservative political attitudes that display politics as exclusively a men's activity, and traditional social norms that keep young girls from going to school, leaving household responsibilities solely for women and girls. The paper furthermore attributes that the COVID-19 crisis has created more obstacles on the path to gender equality, threatening to reverse the gains made across social, economic, and political spheres. Next up is a report of an assessment undertaken to measure the projected impact of Zimbabwe's climate policies on employment, GDP, and emissions. This economic model, known as the Green Jobs Assessment, allows the government of Zimbabwe to examine the potential impact of its climate policies on economic growth, employment creation, skills and education needs, gender equality, and income levels. In other words, it allows policymakers to make the right choices for a just transition to a low-carbon and prosperous economy. At number 3 is a paper that aims to promote child protection system strengthening in order to reduce violence against children in Eastern and Southern Africa. It explores the concept of child protection system strengthening and provides concrete examples from the region of system strengthening in practice. The report points out that vulnerable children often experience multiple forms of violence and require coordinated responses involving a range of sectors and actors. Therefore, a holistic child protection system that addresses child and family vulnerability is vital for ending violence against children. My next recommendation takes us to Central Sahel and is a briefing paper that focuses on safe education in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. The paper points out that a complex humanitarian crisis has severely impacted education, and this is prior to national COVID-19 lockdowns. Insecurity and direct attacks on school infrastructure and staff forced around 4,000 schools in the Central Sahel to close by early 2020. The document asserts that in addition to causing injury and loss of life, the attacks undermine access to quality education, prevent the realization of other fundamental rights, and have lasting effects on peace and development and the attainment of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Last is UNECA's report on the progress made on the Programme of Action for the Least Developed Countries for the decade 2011 to 2020. The report is organized along 8 different priority areas, which are productive capacity, agriculture, food security and rural development, trade, commodities, human and social development, multiple crises and other emerging challenges, mobilizing financial resources for the development and capacity building, and finally, good governance at all levels. The paper stresses that while progress on a number of indicators, particularly those focused on social and human development, has been positive, it has been slow. The report goes on to elaborate that child and maternal mortality rates are falling while literacy rates are rising. That's it, folks. Have a wonderful, wonderful week and stay safe.